if that's okay. You're very welcome to this group. It's a group that has been organized by Liu Jen, my wife. She feels that it would be something really worthwhile for us to try and offer over the next 3 weeks. I'm Dermot Coonan, a counselling psychologist, and I want to talk to you about how we can work through this period in the best possible way. We want to help you to get, as we say, above and beyond the pandemic. And to do so, we have to look at what works for people best. And that's really about this kind of conversation. And we'd love if you can text us with your own ideas along the way, because that will really help us, whether you text through Zoom or even text us through the WeChat side of things. That would be fine. But we really want to get different ideas from different people, because what works for you is what really, really matters here. My work is as a counselling psychologist. I've worked with international students for the last 20 years, and I've also worked with a specialisation in trauma. Now, trauma is a very deeply stressful event, and currently we're going through a very deeply stressful event. The pandemic is not just biological. It's not just down to the COVID-19 virus. It is biological for many, but for most of us, the real stressful impact of this pandemic is social and psychological. And what I mean by that is that most of us are worrying about the pandemic, and yet it's really impacting us mostly social, through distancing, not getting to see our people face to face, missing out on our routines and so on, and psychological. It's affecting our sense of calm and our sense of well-being. With deep stress, it actually even affects the sense of who I am. So you might have noticed over this period of time that you're losing out on some of your normal roles, the normal things you've done day to day, the things you know about yourself as a student who goes to that university, who meets that club or society, who studies in that library, who eats food in this cafe, who cooks that food. And all of these kind of things may be more limited right now. And if they are more limited right now, that affects a sense of who we are. So we want, as a group, over the next 21 days, every evening at 8 p.m. to offer you this kind of meeting, this kind of chat, where we'll share ideas and hopefully minimize the social and psychological impact of the pandemic. Carl Rogers is one of the people who is most famous in my area in counselling. And his approach is often called person-centered counselling. The focus in his case, if he was working on people right now, he would not be focusing on the pandemic itself. He would be focusing on the individual, the person in the experience. So in counselling, people come to us really feeling overwhelmed. And when people feel overwhelmed, they really don't know who they are. They forget who they are because they're caught staring at their fear. They're caught staring at the break in their routines, the late night sleeping, the getting up late, and their diet may be suffering, their exercise more limited, their social contact less and less. And this kind of thing is where we need to focus on the person themselves. So Carl Rogers said, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. So change happens to us when we're able to recognize and accept who I am and accept the situation I'm facing. So we want to help you to accept the situation that you're facing right now. We can't change it immediately, but we can help you change your relationship with the pandemic of social and psychological stress. Because for most of us, this is not a biological pandemic, but a social pandemic and a psychological one. We can help you with that. I want you to think about 2022. I want you to think about 2 years on from this. I want you to think about going to possibly a job interview or an interview for a master's or PhD program. And I want you to think about the question being asked of you. How do you look back on the pandemic? How do you want to look back on it now? How will you want to look back on it then? How will you want to think about it? We've all had struggles, and we are allowed to be frustrated, we're allowed to be afraid, we're allowed to be sad. In fact, it's very important that we are honest with our emotions right now. But in 2 years' time, we want to look back and say it was very difficult, but I turned things around. I found a way to relate to it in a new and positive way. I found more strength in myself than I knew I had before. So our group is about giving you the confidence back to bounce back from this setback the globe has experienced. We've all experienced it, but some of us are going to find our way back on our feet sooner, and we want to help you to do so. But to get back up on your feet, you first have to realize you're on the ground. You have to get used to the fact that you may feel like you have fallen, and you need to be kind to yourself as you pick yourself up again. We need you to be a best friend to yourself through this period, and we want to support that over the next 3 weeks. After the initial overwhelm, we ask, who am I in this? So when people come to counseling, they just feel so caught up in their experiences, whether it be a relationship breakup, death of a loved one, whether it be a job loss, or something very difficult has happened for them. In any direction, they feel so caught up by the difficult experience, they almost forget who they are. And what do I mean by this? I mean that they don't remember how they had other challenges in the past, and they used their strength, they used their skills before to overcome past challenges. So what we've learned from the past can help us. And as international students, you need to remember also that you have overcome many difficulties in coming to a new country, in settling, in learning a foreign language, and so on. All of those adaptations you have made in the past show you that you are stronger than you might think you are at times. The fear might overwhelm you momentarily, but you need to remember you've come through a lot already. We're going to bring all those strength back. So how do we get back to ourselves might be the question we ask today. And we're going to look at this question in more depth over the next 3 weeks. But you get back to yourself first by feeling what we feel. Think about it. If I am afraid, but I hide my fear, if I'm angry, but I do everything not to show it, where does the anger go? It doesn't go anywhere. It just gets hidden for a while. Where does the anxiety go? It just gets hidden for a while, buried for a little while. But then more anxiety will come along, and that anxiety is hidden there too, and the pressure builds up and up and up and up, and boom, we're overwhelmed. So what we want to do is to help you to recognize we can't get past our feelings without having them first. And what this means is that maybe we need to take some time, and I'm asking you to consider this as point number 1 to consider tomorrow morning or this evening after we've spoken, to get some paper, get a pen, and write down the feelings you have. You are allowed to feel anxious. You are allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel frustrated and even angry. You're allowed to feel, really doubtful of yourself. You're allowed to feel self-critical, but write it down, get it out of you onto paper. This can really help. As I've said before, there's very good research to say that this is a hard thing to do, but really, really worthwhile thing to do. So some of the ideas we offer you are tough ideas, but they can really, really pay off. And this, for me, is the first idea I'm offering because I think it's one of the most important. This is about be honest with your feelings, be honest with yourself, be honest with yourself, and then you can get through this better. We'd like you to look back on this time in 2 years and say, I was honest with myself, and I was honest with my feelings, and I was able to manage them better because of this. The second point we want to come to is when people experience trauma, like really, really bad events have happened to them, and they come to me as a specialist in trauma, what I try to do is help them, give them a sense of control back. So we look at the things that we can do to feel more in control. And these are simple things, starting with routines. So it could be a thing early in the morning that you write down my plan for the day. And in writing down the plan for the day, you can look back at the end of the day and say, oh, I got 6 of the 8 things I hoped to get done today. Well, 6 out of 8 isn't so bad, you know? And it could be that the day after you get 5 out of 8, and that's okay. But it's about giving yourself a sense of control. So focus on what we can control rather than get lost in all these statistics, lost in all this news, lost in all the negativity that you could look at around the experience of COVID-19 for many people. Yes, there's real suffering going on in the world, and it's very important for us to think about these people and support those people who we care about and support them to do the best they can. So in response to the social distancing that we're experiencing, many of us have to actively increase our online contact, even by tuning in to hear me talk today, this evening. This is part of your increasing your online contact. We want you to reach out. We want you to connect. And for many of us, it's not so natural to connect in these ways, but this is a habit we can develop. And in doing so, we will take the balance back because we've lost so much face-to-face contact. But now if we can increase the online contact, it allows us to have at least enough social contact to feel connected, to feel engaged. Many of us are feeling disconnected right now, and that's a feeling we want to help you to come back from. We want to help you to come back from feeling disconnected. The third point that I'm making today is that another way to get back to ourselves is that we put a sense of purpose or value back into our lives. And giving a sense of purpose to your life might be about supporting friends or relatives who could be struggling. It could be about giving them a call, letting them talk about how they're doing, letting them talk about what's working for them and what's not working so much. It could be about creating some nice artwork or a card or something for a friend or family member. It could be about focusing on developing a new skill. And if you want to develop a new skill, what we're doing in our 21 days is looking at good psychological research and how it can help people around well-being. So even by tuning in for 21 days, we really hope that you're going to take up some skills here as well. We're offering you some things to develop. Now, our ideas are only ideas. And you know, ideas don't stay fresh. So an idea, if you just listen to it, you might think, that's nice. That idea will be rotten in about 2 days' time, and it will be forgotten and rotten. So what we want to do is to ask you to bring these ideas to life. We're giving you the ingredients. We're giving you apples. We'd love you to make apple pies with it. We're giving you lemons. We'd like you to make lemonade with it. We want you to take these ideas and run with them. Because the problem with ideas, if we only hear them and don't try them out, is we start to become deaf to them. We can't hear them anymore, and they lose their power. The only power an idea has is the power you give the idea. So we offer you an idea, you take it if you wish, and you can make something more of it. So think about focusing on developing a new skill. The one skill we're offering you is the one of well-being, the one of helping you to feel better in yourself and helping you to manage to get through this time. So in 2022, we're really hoping that you'll have a positive memory of where you've been and how you're getting on. And we'd like you to be able to look back on this time and say, it was very tough and I really struggled, but I found my way through it. I recognized where I was. I got back on my feet. I got my sense of purpose back. I got my sense of control back. and I gave meaning to this situation, and I was honest with my feelings. So they're the basic ideas we wanted to share today.